Hey everybody, welcome back to another movie review. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel as of late. Hope you guys enjoyed the collection of what have I've seen lately. Just a new series or an old series that I'm bringing back. Um, so hope you guys enjoyed those videos. We will be continuing that come August. So hope you guys will be looking forward to that. Um, But let's get into Oppenheimer, which is the latest from Christopher Nolan, written and directed by Christopher Nolan. Stars a quite a star-studded cast, led by Cillian Murphy, who's been in many Nolan films in the past, notably, in the Batman films. He was the Scarecrow. He also had an appearance in Dunkirk, as well as many other things. He is now getting a chance to lead a Nolan film, and he plays J. Robert Oppenheimer, um, who is the inventor of the atomic bomb. And the film details the point of origin of said atomic bomb, the actual, obviously the explosion of said bomb, to then the consequences to playing in what really is about self-indulgence and um, about ignorance, and more importantly about self-importance, because the thing that the film details about greatly, in terms of um, Oppenheimer as a character, is that he is very narcissistic, and he's very selfish, and he's very arrogant, and he's also a bit of a child, because one of the things that the film talks about extensively is, of course, the world of politicians, the dirt that is spilled, the game of politics essentially, and Oppenheimer's navigation in such a place is that of a child, whereas everybody else is much more adult oriented and has much more of a focus. He's out of his element essentially. Like even one person says, I believe Benny Safdie's character says at one point, is like, you've turned from scientist to politician, and you see that how that this is not his playfield, and that he's not that knowing of all the loopholes and the betrayals that could happen. But um, to speak more on just details of the film. One of the things that I found quite extraordinary about the film is its moments of tension, particularly when we get to the point when the bomb goes off. It is quite horrifying when it happens. You know, usually with tension, you can pick up on when certain things are about to happen. It's not that the film um, is scary in that, like, it's unpredictable and its progression of tension. What makes it horrifying is that progression of tension and just the knowing of what will happen, or the coming to realization of certain things, certain visualizations of certain events unfolding. You find yourself just so tense. Like when the bomb went off, I was just rattled and just shaken. Um, and then other scenes that followed after that. There's a, a big undertone of horror in this. If the film has been described as a horror film, and to a certain extent, it absolutely operates with those types of sensibilities. Um, there are certain scenes um, that just evoke that absolutely. Um, I think that also the music is just thunderous and just quite frankly a standout to me. But the thing that was preventing me from really enjoying the film was its need to be extensively detailed. And I know that that's a trademark of Nolan. I know that he likes to operate with kind of similar sensibilities to that of Kubrick, where he's he's a very detailed filmmaker. He likes to, particularly verbally, express those details, um, and and it can become a bit tiresome in that regard. Because the first half of the film is very, there's a lot of explaining that is needing to be done, and I don't mind that, but it has to be done in a way where I feel a little bit more engaged. And I just feel at times that I was just kind of tuned out. And I feel like the screenplay also realizes that too, because once it goes on these big old rambles about such and such, it then throws you like one statement to explain the entire 5 minute sequence. It's not like it just is like this moving on. It's like this, and just in case any of you guys couldn't follow that, here's what we were talking about. Um, and it's not a, I would say, a like, it's something that did help me back, but it's something that I also wouldn't take away. I like the fact that it's super detailed. I like the fact that, it's not just speaking around its subjects, it's speaking about its subjects to its fullest. I do think, though, that that does get in the way of your overall interest. When the tension does present itself again, I found myself just completely glued in and found myself completely engaged in that medium, or in that type of space. Um, I do think, though, that the other issues that it does bear is um, a lot to do with emotional sensibility, so emotional engagement. This has been an issue with Nolan for many, many years. I would say that he found that engagement in Interstellar. I would say that that's probably his most emotional, and I've also heard his most personal film. Um, with this, it feels, how do I put this? It's like it kind of reminded me a lot of a Scorsese film, and Scorsese has those kind of sensibilities as well, where I'm just not as engaged with the characters as I am with the craftsmanship. But with Scorsese's films, particularly with like a film like Goodfellas or with The Irishman, those films hope that you are interested in those characters because they spend so much time studying those characters and talking about said characters. And Nolan is doing that here with Oppenheimer, where he's talking a lot about his character. He's talking a lot about their circumstances, their politics, and their ideas. And I just didn't find myself engaged in that type of way. Where I found myself engaged with was with the craftsmanship. It was with the presentation of it, because visually it's quite nice to look at. Um, but just the tone, this progression of tension when it is present, just hit me every time that it came. Um, so I think that it has tremendous, uh, tremendously satisfying tension that just will rattle you, that will engage you. I think that it has visuals that are enticing. I think that it's detailed, very detailed, but I feel that those details do um, do create a distance with you with the film. I just found myself not that engaged with the characters. I found Oppenheimer honestly to be just a narcissist, someone that I just really don't have sympathy for. Um, and it seems like everyone in the film almost is kind of an asshole in some way. And again, it kind of echoed, it reminded me of that of Scorsese, with particularly Goodfellas, in terms of how the movie navigates itself. Um, so, and I appreciate those influences, but those influences also bring in issues that I've had with Scorsese, which is the lack of appealing characteristics, um, the lack of overall engagement, and a distance that you feel for a large majority of the film. But like I said, that distance did not create boredom. Um, um, it just created notable, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, it just created for uh, uh, notable, like I found myself zoning out, you know, but I wasn't like bored with it either. It's a kind of a strange feeling to be in. Like I wasn't bored. I was just like tapped out, I guess you could say, when it came to just the excessive need to, be this detailed. Um, but like I said, I wouldn't take it away from the film. So it's kind of a mixed bag in some respects for me when it comes to Oppenheimer as a whole. There are moments I think that are really, really well constructed. Like I said, its tension, the way that it's built, is just flawless. I was just shaking. Like I almost had a panic attack. Like really, um, and I like visually it is quite a thing to look at. Um, but I think that what killed it for me, or not what killed it for me, but what put me in a state of just of fairness when thinking about the film. It's not in a place of greatness. It has that potential, but ultimately I'm kind of sitting in a place of where I found it to be fair. Um, those issues were that I just think that it's not paced properly. There are times where things just drag, and there's an excessive need to be detailed, which I think creates distance within the viewer. Um, and I just found myself not that engaged with the characters. I just didn't find myself interested in learning more about the character of Oppenheimer. I got an idea of who he was about an hour in. He's pretty self important. He thinks himself as a god in some respects. The Robert Downey Jr.'s character like put it in all in perspective towards the end. Like, yeah, he wants attention. He's someone who seeks glory. He seeks a certain kind of outlook, you know. Um, but you know, I found it to be a little bit what's the word I'm looking for? Um, like I wouldn't say the length is the issue. It's just more about the pacing, more about the sometimes the structure of it. Um, but it has elements that are strong. Like I said, that tension worked for me, and among other technicalities, and overall tone, I just felt was appropriate. But I just found myself just disengaged with other elements, and with that, I can't find myself sitting in a pool of greatness. I just found myself sitting in a pool of fairness, but also with questions. You know, it's like, do I enjoy this? Did I enjoy that? So, um, but for the most part, I found myself in a place of like, okay, I like that, but I wish it was more than that. Um, so kind of a mixed bag, but I'm leaning on to the side of that I liked it, mainly for its build and tension. The tension is just so good. Um, but yeah, so those are my thoughts on those are my thoughts on Oppenheimer. Hope you guys enjoyed the my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on Oppenheimer if you guys saw it. And yeah, that's gonna be it for me, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Just one more thing, also. I mean, in terms of what Nolan has done, is definitely a step up from Tenet. Um, and among his other work, you know, it's one of those mid-range Nolan films for me. You know, it's not to the heights of something like Interstellar or any of his Batman films. Um, I find it to be good, but nothing more than that. Um, so by even saying good, I find myself questioning that. So I'm kind of in a mixed state. Like I said, kind of leaning on the positives. So, um, but those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And that's gonna be it for me, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video.